Does your business own you, or do you own your business? Let me say that one more time. Does your business own you, or do you own your business? Do you feel like you're on a never-ending hamster wheel chasing a to-do list without fulfillment? Well, if you do, you're not alone. You're not alone. So many of us entrepreneurs are like that. And if you feel like you're filling your life with work rather than work helping you live a fulfilled life, in this episode, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to build a business that you own, a business that fulfills your life versus fills your life, and really sets you on the path to freedom and impact. I'm Trevor Mauch, an 8-figure entrepreneur who has been through lots of bumps and bruises, lots of wins, lots of successes, lots of failures along the way. A 5-time Inc. 5000 fastest growing company award winner, 2-time most philanthropic small business in the state of Oregon. The reason I say these things is not to brag or impress you. It's more to impress upon you that I've been through some things, and I want to be able to pass along the knowledge that I've learned along the way. And one of the biggest things that I've learned along the way is it's really, really easy as an entrepreneur to get caught up in your business, to have your business actually catch you, have the business do with you what it wants to do rather than you making sure you're crafting that business so it does exactly what you want it to do for your life, for the impact that you want to make, and really to do exactly what you dreamed that it would do when you started it. Because sometimes what happens, we get 2 years, 3 years, 4 years into these businesses, and that dream that we had at the beginning, okay, that thing that we were running away from the job that we didn't like, or the income ceiling that was kind of holding us down, or we were running away from somebody saying that we couldn't accomplish something. Once we're 2, 3, 4 years into that business, and that initial motivation or energy or the vision is out of the way, and now we have to step into something new. This is where sometimes we'll default to just working. We'll default to filling time with more tasks. We'll default to thinking that more work equals good, more work equals growth. But actually, what if I were to challenge you and say, what if it were the opposite of that? What if it were the opposite of that? What if you don't need to do the endless hustle? Actually, I'm going to encourage you that the endless hustle is the exact opposite of what you want. And if you're doing things right, it won't feel like a hustle. It'll feel like a high energy existence that you get to step into. Okay, what if I were to challenge you in the word grind? That I don't believe that we as entrepreneurs should grind. Now, we should grind maybe for a short period of time, but if we think about what a grind actually is, when we think about 2 gears grinding together, they can't grind for very long, right? You cannot have 2 pieces of metal grinding for very long before the pieces and parts fall off, they wear out, and then eventually the gear becomes broken. It doesn't move. It doesn't do the thing that it's meant to do. In the entrepreneur world, I think, has glorified the grind too much. So we need to move out of the grind into a business that really is built for us. Okay, so there's 3 things. There's 3 actionable steps I want to walk into today. The 3 actionable steps here are these things. Create a crystal clear vision is number 1. Okay, number 2 is build your work to fuel that vision. And I'm going to dive into each one of these in detail. And then number 3 is structure your week so it gives you energy every single day of the week. Okay, so number 1, create a crystal clear life vision. Number 2, create a business that fulfills and fuels that vision. Number 3, structure your work week so it actually gives you energy every day, not just sometime in the future when you finally hit that magical exit or the magical number, the magical revenue number where you think, man, when I hit $1 million a year or $1 million a month or $1 million a day, the clouds are going to part, the angels are going to sing, my life is finally going to be there, I'm finally going to be arrived. I can tell you that moment will never come when you hit an income threshold. Okay, guys, so let's dive into the first one. Create a crystal clear life vision. Back in 2008, I was just getting started as an entrepreneur. I had started my first company, actually second company, if you were to kind of call my rental properties a company. But I bought my first rental properties in 2004 when I was in college. No money down, a 4-unit apartment building by the college that I was living in. Owner Carrie still own that property today. And that was kind of my first foray into entrepreneurship. And then fast forward to 2008, graduated college by that time, had a couple of years under my belt of just struggling through the first years of entrepreneurship. I was the dreamer and I had learned how to make $100,000 a year, but I hadn't learned how to really delegate. I hadn't really learned the next step. And I won a ticket to this event. I wrote in a blog submission to Rich Schefren's New Beginnings event in Orlando, Florida. It was either 2008 or 2009. And at that event, Gary Vaynerchuk, it was his first ever paid speaking gig. Gary Vaynerchuk was still the wine guy. He had never even published Crush It yet. And so I had a chance to be there with him and talk with him a bunch after it. And it was like all of my kind of internet marketing heroes at that time, all the people like Frank Kern and Jeff Walker and a bunch of people who I looked up to at that time who were the people I wanted to step into. And I remember the first time that I'd ever heard a concept of a vision story was Frank Kern was up there. He's a marketer. Go look him up. A really eccentric guy, great marketer, interesting personality, kind of surfer dude. He had stood up there and talked about the transformation that he'd been on. He was born somewhere down in the Southeast, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, around there. He had done all kinds of odd jobs, selling security systems, selling credit card systems. He wasn't passionate about his work. And then he started kind of finding the online marketing side of things. And he found out, man, I have a skill set here and I enjoy this. What he did, though, was he was in a bubble. He was in an environment where the environment kept him and kept his vision in a certain box. The environment and his friends around him, his family around him, pretty much said, well, this is what you do if you grow up in a town like this and you don't have any business dreaming out there. And he sat down and he wrote what I call a vision story. And he wrote the ideal average day. Now I'm going to dive into this in insane detail in another YouTube video, another podcast here in the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula. But I'll give you the brief 2-minute version of it. The ideal average day is you start from the second you wake up till the second you go to bed. And I have mine on my orange carrot notebook over there. I review it probably 2 or 3 times a month. I rewrite it, refresh it once a year. I've been doing this for over 15 years now. And that ideal average day should be in excruciating detail. What do you see when you wake up? What time is it that you wake up? Where are you at? Who's next to you? Is there a window? What's out the window? When you get out of bed and go in your kitchen or whatever, who's there? What's the kitchen look like? What do you eat for breakfast? What time is it? What do you do next? Okay, when you go to work, what time do you go to work? Do you walk to work? And what does that look like? Are you working at your home? What does that look like? Do you drive to work? What car do you drive? How far do you drive? When you get to your office, what does it look like? Who's there? What type of energy is it? When you're working, what type of work are you doing? What activities, what things give you energy? Who are you working with? You get the idea. Every second along the way, excruciating detail, what does that ideal average day look like? If you had to live that same day, every day the rest of your life within a variance, right? Those same types of activities, that you'd be pretty darn content and happy and fulfilled if it looked kind of like this, okay? So I wrote my first vivid vision, that first vision story after Frank Kern had walked through him doing that, writing his ideal average day. And then about 3-4 years later, he woke up on the beach in San Diego at his beach house, literally living the day that he had written several years before. And he talked about the power of a clear vision. I went home, and that year was the first year that I'd written my first, what I call vision story. And I do a vision story a little bit differently. I do a 20-year, a 10-year, and a 5-year. 20 years out, where do I want to be? Okay, write that ideal average day. And I don't really have a lot of numbers in there. I do have something that says it's a $100 million a year empire. I don't really talk about what type of businesses I have 20 years out. Don't think about the how, just think about the what and the why. Okay, it should be the most inspiring story that you read. I remember this about a year ago, I read part of my vision story to our customers for my software company, Carrot.com, on a call that I do, an annual planning call. I call it the Epic Annual Planning Call. I do it every year. And I read part of it to show them an example of what a vision story can look like. And I started choking up. That was the first time I'd read my vision story, that version of it in public. I did not expect it to choke me up. And the cool thing about it is, like, your vision story should choke you up. It should be so darn amazing. Like, you should feel it's the best story you read all year. It should be so darn amazing. We're like, man, if that's the life I get to live in 20 years and 10 years and 5 years, I will be so grateful. I'll be so proud of myself. I'll be so proud of our company. I'll be so darn proud that is the opportunity that I get to step into being that person. The vision story isn't just about what you want to have. That's the least of it for me. It's about really who you want to become. Who do you want to become? And what will that person do? What will that life look like? Okay, so I'm going to do the 20-year. I'm going to do the same thing at the 10-year. What if I want to live that 20-year? What must my 10-year ideal average day look like? If I want to live the 10-year, what's my 5-year? So I'm going to go 20, 10, 5. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up to you is because if you're in a spot where your business owns you, it's usually because we default, we don't design. The best way for you to really drive forward and build the business that you want, that you run or that you own and doesn't own you, is to design it. Okay, we have 3 choices. We have 3 choices in our businesses and our lives. We can either do 3 things. We can drift, we can default, or we can design. Okay, what does drift look like? Drift looks like you stepping into busy work. Drift looks like you getting wore out, burnt out. You step into your vices, then the things that are damaging to you, potentially long-term damaging to you, and you start to slip into your vices and you drift away from that vision that maybe got you to where you are today. You drift away from that exciting future. And you actually start to lead to failure. Drift leads to failure eventually if we don't get back on track. Okay. Now, default is where most of you probably are going to be. Default is where it's easiest to get stuck into. It has the least amount of red flags. And what default is what got us where we are. We just keep doing those things. Okay, what got us where we are, the activities in our business, the marketing, the product, the way we schedule our time, the mindset, the identity, everything. What got us where we are is just what we keep on doing. We default to the default. When we default to the default of what we already know, then we're going to stay where we already are. We're not going to be able to move forward where we want to go. Okay, and then we get stuck in this spot where we lose our motivation. We lose our passion for our work. We lose our fire for what we're doing. We start to hit one of those 3 S's. We either sabotage ourselves because we're not having fun and enjoying it anymore. And we ask, why are we doing this? Or we settle and we go back and say, man, it was way easier at this phase of my business. I'm going to settle and go back that way because it's easier and I know it more. Okay. Or we sell. If you have a business that you're fortunate that has some sort of value, that's where then we hit that pain line and we sell. That's what happens if we default. Okay. But what I want to challenge you to is design. I want you to design your life. I want you to design that business, and we'll dive into designing your life and your business in other shows. So hit subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, wherever the heck you're listening to this or watching this, hit subscribe because I'm going to be bringing these to you as we go. So that's the first one, guys. We need to have a crystal clear vision. Okay. Once we have the crystal clear vision and we're designing that life, now we design the business that helps us live that life. Okay. So if you're 3 or 4 years into your business, I have something that I've discovered and created over the years that I call the 3-year turn and burn cycle. Now, the 3-year turn and burn cycle is essentially this. It's that story I told you a bit ago. That initial motivation that got you to where you are and springboard you away from the job you didn't like or away from whatever it was to where you are today. Okay, that vision propelled you forward. But if we don't now shift from looking back and running away from something and shift towards the future and running towards something exciting, we end up, like I said, we sit in default, and then we start to really not enjoy our life and our business anymore. And we get distracted. We go start another company. And we're trying to find that dopamine hit. You're trying to find the thing that gives you the validation, makes it fun again, like it was back when you started the company. And that leads on this turn and burn cycle by every 3 to 4 years. And so having that crystal clear vision is going to help. But then next, what we have to do is now we have to build our work or build our business to fuel the vision. One thing I truly believe in is that our business should fuel our vision. Our life should not fuel the business, right? Way too many of us, our lives are fueling the business rather than the business fueling our life and our vision. So flip that around. Ask yourself this right now. Pop a comment in the comments box. Is your life fueling your business, or is your business fueling your life? Is your life fueling your business, or is your business fueling your life? The best way I've found to have your business fuel your life is lock in that vision. And then I'm going to look at that 5-year vivid vision, that 5-year vision story. I'm going to say, okay, if that's the life I want to have, and I'd be insanely pumped in 5 years, if that was my ideal average day, What does my work look like during that day? What am I doing? What types of things am I doing? Do I envision myself working in this existing business still? If so, what does that job look like? What does my work look like? Who's working around me? What types of things am I doing each day? And I need to walk that back and say, okay, if I'm going to live that life in 5 years, what has to change in my business today? Do I need to hire somebody? Do I need to build a part of my business that doesn't exist? Do I need to leave my business because I don't see myself at all in that story anymore? That happened to me in 2011, 2012. When I was going through a very similar journey, just like this, I was in my business owned me. I didn't own it. I was earning several $100,000 per year. I had money in the bank, but no energy in the tank. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so when I created that vision story, even at the 5-year, I'd ask myself, do I envision this business that I have today being the business I'm running at that time? And I had to fight long and hard for it. And I said, no. And so what I did was I exited that business, not for a big old amount of money, just for a very small amount of money, just so I could get my focus back up. I trimmed down the distractions, and I took my income from several $100,000 per year to, in 2012, my taxable income was $27,000. My taxable income was $27,000. 1 year, my income dropped by 10x. But you know what? I was insanely pumped about it, because now I had a crystal clear vision and I could design the business that actually fueled my life rather than the other way around. So I wrote down, what are those non-negotiables? What are the things that have to be true about my business so it can fuel my life? So I wake up every single day pumped, maybe not every single day, but most days pumped to do the work I'm about to do. Okay. And I wrote down 5 non-negotiables, and those non-negotiables I will go over in another episode about creating your life non-negotiables. And then we're going to talk about creating your daily non-negotiables as well. But those 5 non-negotiables fed into my next business, which became Carrot, which became an 8-figure company, multiple, Inc. 5000 award winner, and just a business I'm so grateful that I've been able to grow. Hasn't been easy, but I've been so insanely grateful to grow this company. If you want to learn about my 5 non-negotiables that catapulted me from a few $100,000 a year to over 10 million a year, pop in the comments box below if you're on YouTube, or shoot me a DM on Instagram. It's just Trevor.Mauch. That's Mauch. Hit me with a DM or a comment and say, yes, I'd love to learn about the 5 non-negotiables. If I get enough people that comment below, then I will do a whole series of videos on those, as much or as little as you guys want to hear. Okay, so we then need to build the business to fuel that vision. Okay, those non-negotiables are going to be keep building a business that is actually one that you enjoy, that is going to allow you to do that. The third step here now, to be able to get out of the cycle where your business owns you and you own the business, is we then need to structure our week so it gives us energy, gives us life and energy. What a lot of us do is we look at our calendar and we structure our priorities based off of what the business needs to drive the revenue. Okay, back in 2010, 11, some of the best and worst advice that I'd heard at that time, it worked really well to make me money, but it also drove me into a spot where I despised my business, was take out a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle of the piece of paper, and on one side write things that make me money, and the other side write things that don't make me money. And then write down a big old list of all the things that you're currently doing that make you money, and all the things you're currently doing that don't make you money. And then the advice I was given was, everything in that list that don't make you money that you're currently doing, you delegate everything off. And I did that. I did that really well. I delegated almost everything on that list that didn't make me money. The problem with it was the stuff that made our company money at that time was the very stuff that actually drained my energy. I was looking at optimization of priorities and money rather than optimization of energy. And what I learned during that period of my life, 2011 and 12 especially, is optimization of energy is actually what we should be optimizing for. We should not be optimizing, I feel, this is my opinion, we should not be optimizing for money or productivity if you truly are looking after building a business of freedom, impact, and one that's going to drive fulfillment. Okay? You can totally optimize for money, make a ton of money. I was on a call with one of my Epic coaching members a couple of days ago. He does about 1 to 2 million a year in revenue. And he told me a story about a really big player in the real estate investor space. They did a ton of deals, over 1,000 deals a year, a giant company. This guy, the founder, in every respect, was insanely successful. He won the awards. He had a big office, had a big team, had a lot of revenue coming in. It wasn't about a month and a half ago, he killed himself. He was 42, 43 years old, if I remember right. And he had built this business really where his business and his identity were one. And when he had some challenges, and when I don't know him, I'm making assumptions here, but when he had some challenges in that business and things didn't go the way that he wanted, he felt he had no other choice, because as the business was dying, he felt like he was dying too. What I want for you guys is I want you to have a business you enjoy, but you are not your business. Your business is not you. Okay. I want you to have a business that you own that does not own you. I want you to really step into and take your work week and say, you know what? Life is precious. The weeks are short. The days are really short. The years are going to fly right by, right? I want you to look at that week and say, let me wipe off work off the whole equation for a second while I'm making my calendar. What are the things that, even if work isn't involved at all, that would give me life and energy this week? What are the things that are going to give you energy? Write those down. Get those on your calendar first before you schedule any work stuff. Number 2, what are the things that are going to keep you healthy? Okay, how are you going to stay moving on a daily basis? How are you going to make sure you're putting nutrients in your body that are keeping you healthy? Write that down. What do you need to do in your work week to make that happen? Schedule your workouts. Schedule the personal training. Whatever you need to do, put that in the schedule first before any work stuff. Okay. Number 3, who are the people you want to connect with that you really want to spend the most time with? People you love, people you admire, people that you want to spend time with. They give you life and you give them life. Get them on your calendar now before you schedule your work. And then number 4, what are the things that are your unique ability? You're amazing at, gives you energy, drives your business forward, produces for the world, produces value for the world. Write those down. Schedule those on your calendar with big focus working blocks. Everything else in your business gets built around that now. Okay. What happens, guys, is we actually do it the other way. When we own our business is when we schedule our calendars and our times the way I just talked with you about. So your business fits around the life. It fuels the life. It's a part of the life. It doesn't become your life. When your business becomes your life, that's where we resent the business. When your business becomes your life, that's where we have our highs and lows, our ebbs and flows based off of the feeling of our business, based off of the revenue of our business. But if you have your week and your life scheduled to where everything in there in that life that gives you life and drives you forward, no matter what business you would ever run, is already in your calendar first, I can guarantee you the lows in business are going to be a heck of a lot more even. The highs you're going to celebrate, but you're already living an amazing life. You don't need the next revenue level potentially to live that amazing life. And you're already going to be living an amazing life. You don't need to be more. You don't need to do more. You just need to take time right now and schedule the right things first. Own your schedule. Don't let your business own you. Alrighty, guys. So hopefully this resonated with you. Pop in the comments box below if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, head over to YouTube and check it out and subscribe over there. Leave me a comment. If you're on the YouTube channel, head over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and subscribe over there so you can listen to this on the go anywhere you want to. All right, guys. I appreciate the heck out of you. I have a question for you and a favor to ask of you. Okay. Number 1, and I want your answer down below in the comments box. Does your business currently own you? If it does, what's the one thing you're going to do this week to step into to take control over that again so your business doesn't own you and you own it? Okay. Number 2, think of 2 people right now that are entrepreneurs that might need to hear this story. Think of 2 people. This could be the greatest gift that you could give them. Just hit share on this or grab the URL or do whatever. Text this to a friend and say, hey, thinking about you. I think you might get some value from this. That'd be an amazing gift for them. I would be grateful, insanely grateful about it as well, because that's what I get the most energy from right now, is really sharing my journey, sharing my pains, my bruises, the bumps and bruises I've gone on, and the wins and successes, so we can all grow together. I'm just like you, y'all. I'm a dreamer. I'm someone who has a dream, had a dream at one point to get to where I am. I am where I wanted to be. And now I'm really saying, where do I want to go from this point forward? How do I get to the next level in life, the next level in business, and build a business that truly creates freedom and impact. Guys, go to trevormauch.com/freedom to get my energy audit and to get the entrepreneur freedom formula and my business growth levels. But take the energy audit, scroll all the way down to the bottom of that page and click the energy audit tab and get it. Or you can go to carrot.com/energy as well. All right, we'll see you on the next episode of the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula soon.